Have you ever noticed someone who never truly relaxes, even when everything seems fine? They receive a message from a friend and immediately think something is wrong. Their boss says, "Can we talk tomorrow?" And they spend the entire night imagining they are about to lose their job. Someone they love doesn't reply for a few hours, and suddenly their mind begins writing a painful story that doesn't even exist. If this sounds familiar, you might think it's simply overthinking. But what if it isn't? What if expecting the worst isn't a personality flaw? What if it's a survival strategy your brain learned long ago? Most people think pessimistic people are simply negative. But the truth is, many people who always expect the worst aren't trying to be negative at all. Their brain is trying to protect them. The strange part is that the very shield meant to keep them safe slowly becomes the prison they cannot escape. Today, we're exploring the hidden psychology behind people who always expect the worst. By the end of this video, you may see yourself, or someone you love, in a completely different light. Imagine your mind as a lighthouse standing in the middle of a storm. Its job is to search for danger before danger reaches you. For some people, that lighthouse shines only when something is actually wrong. For others, it never stops searching, even on calm nights. That is where our journey begins. The first hidden mechanism, a brain that learned danger too early. Our brains are designed for survival. Deep inside lies a small structure called the amygdala. Its job is simple: detect threats. When it notices danger, it prepares the body to react before we even have time to think. This system helped our ancestors survive predators and harsh environments. But the human brain doesn't always distinguish between physical danger and emotional danger. Imagine growing up in a home where arguments could begin without warning. Some days people smiled. Other days they shouted. Nothing felt predictable. Without realizing it, the brain learned one important lesson. If I expect the worst, I'll never be caught off guard. Years later, the person becomes an adult. Their partner simply says, "We need to talk tonight." Nothing bad has happened. But the brain has already sounded the alarm. The heart races. The stomach tightens. Sleep disappears. Not because reality is dangerous, but because memory whispers that it might be. This is why expecting the worst often feels automatic. It isn't logic. It's history wearing a disguise. And unfortunately, this hidden alarm follows them into every relationship, every opportunity, and every dream. But this is only one piece of the puzzle. Because the brain doesn't just remember danger. It also becomes addicted to searching for it. The second hidden mechanism, the mind becomes a detective. Have you ever watched a detective searching for clues? Every tiny detail suddenly becomes suspicious. People who expect the worst often do the same thing. Psychologists call this confirmation bias. Our minds naturally look for evidence that supports what we already believe. If someone secretly believes, "People eventually leave me," their brain starts collecting proof. A delayed text. A different tone of voice. A cancelled plan. Each tiny event becomes another clue in an imaginary investigation. Meanwhile, all the signs that people genuinely care about them quietly disappear into the background. It's like wearing glasses that only allow dark colors to exist. Imagine a woman whose friend forgets to invite her to lunch. Instead of considering it an accident, she immediately thinks, "They don't want me around anymore." She spends days feeling rejected. Later she discovers the invitation was simply forgotten. But the emotional damage had already happened. The detective inside her solved a mystery that never existed. The painful part is this: the more often the brain predicts disaster, the more convincing disaster begins to feel. And that creates another invisible trap. The third hidden mechanism, fear creates the future it tries to avoid. There is a strange psychological paradox. Sometimes the fear of losing something becomes the very reason we lose it. This idea appears in cognitive behavioral therapy. Our thoughts influence our emotions. Our emotions influence our behavior. And our behavior often shapes our reality. Imagine someone constantly worrying their partner will leave. They repeatedly ask, "Are you still happy with me? Are you sure you love me? Is everything okay?" At first, these questions seem harmless. But over time, constant reassurance becomes exhausting. The relationship grows tense. Eventually, the distance they feared actually appears. Not because their fear predicted the future, but because it quietly helped create it. It's like squeezing sand in your hand. The tighter you hold it, the faster it slips away. This is why expecting the worst is more than anxiety. It becomes a silent script directing everyday life. And behind that script lies something even deeper. The fourth hidden mechanism: safety feels more comfortable than hope. Carl Jung believed that much of human behavior is driven by unconscious patterns. Sometimes people remain loyal to familiar pain because unfamiliar happiness feels dangerous. Think about a bird that has spent its entire life inside a cage. One day the door opens. Freedom is finally possible. Yet the bird hesitates. The cage feels safer than the unknown sky. People who always expect the worst often experience something similar. Hope feels risky. Optimism feels naive. Disappointment feels inevitable. So they prepare for pain before life even delivers it. Imagine receiving exciting news about a job interview. Instead of celebrating, someone immediately thinks, "They probably won't choose me." If rejection comes, they believe they will hurt less. But in reality, they've already stolen today's happiness because of tomorrow's imaginary sadness. This emotional habit slowly turns life into a theater where every story ends badly before the first scene has even begun. The saddest part? Many people never realize they are living inside a script written years ago. But here's the beautiful truth. A script can always be rewritten. How to break free from expecting the worst? The first step is learning to separate possibility from probability. Just because something could happen doesn't mean it is likely to happen. The next time your mind predicts disaster, ask yourself, what actual evidence do I have? Not feelings. Facts. This simple question activates the rational parts of the brain instead of allowing fear to stay in control. For example, if your friend hasn't replied for several hours, remind yourself that people get busy. One unanswered message is not proof of rejection. Small moments like these slowly teach the brain a new language. The second step is noticing your inner narrator. Every day your mind tells stories. Some are true. Some are fiction. The problem is that fear often speaks with complete confidence. When you catch yourself imagining terrible outcomes, quietly say, "That is one possible story, not the only story." This tiny shift creates psychological distance between you and your thoughts. Instead of becoming trapped inside the movie, you become the person watching it. The third step is building evidence for safety. Our brains learn through repetition. Every time something goes better than expected, don't ignore it. Save it. Remember it. Write it down if necessary. A successful conversation. A kind message. A peaceful day. These experiences become new memories that slowly calm the brain's alarm system. Over time, the lighthouse stops searching every way for a shipwreck. It begins recognizing calm water again. Finally, practice giving yourself the same compassion you would offer someone you love. If a close friend constantly feared the worst, you probably wouldn't call them weak. You would remind them they are safe. You deserve the same kindness. Healing doesn't happen because fear disappears overnight. Healing happens because courage slowly becomes louder than fear. Every mind carries invisible stories. Some stories protect us. Others quietly imprison us. The remarkable thing about the human brain is that it continues to change throughout life. The past may explain why you expect the worst. But it does not have to decide your future. Perhaps today isn't about becoming fearless. Perhaps it's simply about giving hope one more chance. Because sometimes, the future you've been fearing never arrives. But the peace you've been postponing could begin today. If this video made you see yourself in a new way, let us know in the comments. Have you ever caught yourself expecting the worst before anything even happened? If you enjoyed this journey into the hidden psychology of the human mind, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Thank you for watching until the end. This is MentaraX. Keep exploring the hidden psychology of the human mind. I'll see you in the next video.